Okay, we're live. Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly. I'm Graham Stone, joined by David Sensel. We're getting into the biggest news in the Bitcoin and crypto space over the last week. It's Monday morning here in Asia, Sunday evening in the US. On Easter Sunday in the morning, Donald Trump, of course, as everyone knows who's been paying attention, issued a profanity laced message on Truth Social demanding Iran open the Strait of Hormuz or face military strikes by Tuesday. Quote, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah.
What?
This seemed to rattle commodity and equity markets heading into the April 6th trading week. So while equity futures pointed lower and oil spiked on the increased geopolitical fear, Bitcoin, interestingly, seemed to show strength, jumping almost 3%, not immediately when that truth went out, but about 12 hours later. So the spike in Bitcoin happened this morning in Asia to hours. So sort of late day in the US on Sunday. Now trading just under $69,000 per Bitcoin. It got up to around 69.3K.
Yeah,
David,
WTI and
I
Brent,
yeah.
WTI and Brent reacted in the way you'd think they would to such. I don't know. I don't even know how do you would what do you even call this? How do you what adjective do you bewildering? How about that? And so yeah, WTI and Brent and one green candle spiked up, and so we're sitting kind of at local
Um,
highs.
Bewildering, David. What's bewildering about this? This seems like pretty much on brand for Trump.
Well, I mean,
The
even for Trump
praise to Allah thing
on
was
Easter,
pretty epic troll.
on Easter Sunday, and then yeah, the expletive. Um, yeah. Anyway, it's even for him, it was. I saw credible analysts being like, you know what? I don't think this was from Trump. I think this is like a rogue intern or something like that. Was the account hacked or these kinds of things? So even for him, it was wow, maybe slightly abnormal.
Yeah.
You were not surprised though, Graham. I take it you were not surprised. You were
No,
like,
no.
oh,
I was every day I wake up and check X for the latest bombastic statement from Trump, and I was not disappointed this morning.
did you? So when I first saw this, I thought it was your typical like troll misinformation X post. I was like, oh well, this has been doctored. This is funny. I like it. That's hilarious. And then apparently it's real. You know what I'm talking about? I immediately
Yeah.
discarded it as not being true when I first saw
Really
it.
interesting. Like I
Yeah.
did not have that thought at all. It just seems like pretty much expected.
All right. Well,
I mean,
yeah.
a year ago, didn't Trump post on Truth Social, uh, bomb Iran or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
That's true.
Like,
All right.
completely
Yeah.
on brand.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe I'm getting too. I don't know. Maybe I'm too worried, and so my worry. I'm wearing my worry on my sleeve now, because it's like,
Mm,
oh, this is real, and oil's a problem, and I live in Asia, and I don't like this.
yeah, yeah. Um, Japan just a couple of days ago declared an energy emergency, as I understand it.
Yeah.
Although talking to your average Japanese person, nobody even actually knows that that happened. As
Yeah.
far as in my experience, I don't see any behavioral changes.
Well, do you recall, Graham, you and I were talking, a slight tangent, but like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was with my family skiing at like a local little place, and it's like very kind of traditional place. So everybody in the kind of ski ryokan thing, they all gather for food, and everyone's jovial and being your typical wholesome Japanese. And then I'm just in the corner. It's almost like that meme of the guy in the basement being like, they don't
They don't
know
know.
that. Yeah, and I kept like pulling my wife aside. It was like, I'm listening carefully, and nobody's talking about the oil situation. She's like, shush, 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 shush. We're having fun. We're having fun. I was like, it's like, what?
Yeah, I think yeah, most of the people seem to be in the nothing ever happens camp at the moment.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But I imagine this will be changing this week, right? Like all the what's his name? Rory Johnson was saying, and a great Hidden Forces. I put this in the newsletter. Everyone should watch it. It's on YouTube, so anyone can watch it. But he was just kind of walking through the timeline. Um, East Asia, the shock should be kind of hitting right now, and then Europe, the end of this week, beginning of next week, it should be reaching them, and then the week after that, America. So I'm kind of not looking forward to, but I'm really waiting to see if the physical shock is now going to be present in East Asia, which it should be, and it's quite interesting how like the paper markets, um, especially in Asia, reacted instantly to the closing of the strait. So even though it takes like a month for the physical the last of the physical to arrive here, which should be right now, um, the paper markets in Asia started anticipating it the day the strait was closed, like more than a month ago, and so we'll see what's going to happen this week.
Yeah, you know Doomberg, of course, the analyst and team of analysts. I heard an
I'm a
interesting.
subscriber.
Yes, he was on the Thoughtful Money podcast. I listened to that over the weekend, and he's quite convinced that yeah, short term, the price of oil is going to go higher. He actually is surprised that it isn't higher. He thinks it should be higher than it is right now, but he is convinced that this will be resolved, and very quickly after that, the price of oil will tank and go lower than where it was before $60. He thinks it's like around 50. I think is what he said is
Interesting.
what the
Yeah.
long term. He thinks it's just going to gradually get lower and lower over the next several years.
Yeah, I mean, Rory Johnson kind of thinks the same way. In that Hidden Forces podcast, he said, I think he might have a slightly different short-term path. I think he sees it where it's priced in December. We talked about this a couple weeks ago with Alex. It's at like 75 to 80 right now, right? You can buy the futures for December 2025. I think it's like 75, or at least it was over the weekend. Um, but yeah, he said the long term implications is that any serious country is going to push harder and faster towards electrification. Right?
Exactly.
Right, and
Looking
this is
for alternative ways,
yeah,
using oil not for electricity generation, using other electricity generation sources. And the quote that Doomberg said a couple of times was, yeah, there's a price spike. There's nothing like a price spike to lead to a supply glut, basically.
yeah.
So
So the phrase that you hear a lot in finance circles, commodity circles, is the cure for higher prices is higher prices,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? Because what happens is, and again, this is why kind of capitalism works so well versus other places, is that the price is basically, it condenses all this information down into one single signal, and then
Yep.
that causes these kind of like massive ripples out. And you add national security to this as well, and it's like, no, the market will not abide this kind of volatility, and so um, it's gonna make sure that at least this exact kind of vector of price increases doesn't happen really ever again. And I kind of believe that as well.
All right, let's move on. So, other sort of war related news is around prediction markets. So, a US congressman is calling on Polymarket to remove over 200 war related betting markets. And this is following controversy around one betting market that was tied to the missing airmen. So, of course, there was a plane that went down in Iran. They got one guy immediately, and then the other guy was, they were searching for him. It turns out to be quite a harrowing sort of search and rescue mission. During that whole situation, surprise, surprise, betting markets popped up on Polymarket around when, if or when they would get the guy. And at one point, more than 60% of bettors were positioned against a near term confirmation of rescue. So the congressman, this guy, Seth Moulton, he's criticizing the market as inappropriate,
A death
arguing
market,
it
right?
was, yes, people on X were saying it's a dystopian death market. And yeah, the congressman saying is basically, yeah, it's exploiting a real time military situation involving a human, a U.S. service member. Polymarket removed the market within hours of this call from the congressman, this criticism from the congressman, and it stated that it failed to meet internal integrity standards and should not have been listed. So that kind of makes you wonder. It's not easy to get markets listed on Polymarket, David. I don't know if you ever tried, but you have to like go through an approval process. So to me, this statement from Polymarket is just like you know, it's BS.
Covering, yeah, CYA. They're covering their asses. They're covering their
Yeah,
asses, right?
yeah.
Like,
Oh, I don't know
um,
how this got past our integrity standards. Yes, you do. Obviously,
an intern
people.
clicked yes.
Obviously, uh, people want to bet on everything, and that's what Polymarket does. So anyway, yeah, when they get called out, then they're like, oh no, that's we have integrity standards. Anyway, so as everyone knows, the airman was recovered shortly, and nevertheless, it's brought this up into controversy again.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, unless you're done with the story, I have some commentary on it. So if you have more to
Go
say on
go
the
for
story,
it. Go
okay.
for it. I'm
You
done.
know what this reminds me? So this kind of thing is only going to, this is just going to keep coming up over and over again because it's kind of a gray area. They talked about it on Bits and Bips some weeks ago, where it's like there's so many different proxies for a death market. It's really a true gray area. So for example, you can kind of like finesse different death markets, like and people have done this through oil or through S&P futures as a proxy for if a president is going to, you know, die, or a leader of a country is going to die. Um, and so it's always going to be there's always going to be some controversy. It reminds me of when Facebook first started having to deal with like this deluge of violent content and violent live streams that started popping up on Facebook like maybe 10, 15 years ago. Graham, I don't know if you remember that, where they had like
Mm-hmm.
beheadings and hangings and
Yeah.
like people committing suicide. And so then they just had to hire like 10,000 people to just go through the live streams to remove violent content that was able to get past their AI filtering, right? So there was even more that was automatically filtered out, but then some non-trivial percentage got through anyway. Um, and I think the terminus of this Polymarket Kalshi thing is the same kind of deal. Is they'll have to develop like elaborate filtering, and yet there will always be a trickle of things that get through, right? And so it's just going to be kind of a thing that they're going to have to deal with forever.
All right. So continuing on the prediction market thread. So a Nevada court ruled on Friday that Kalshi prediction market event contracts are indistinguishable from illegal gambling. So the court rejected Kalshi's argument that its products are swaps and that they fall under the exclusive jurisdiction of the CFTC, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. That's what Kalshi was claiming. The judge noted that purchasing a contract tied to a game outcome is functionally identical to placing a wager at a licensed sports book. And he stated, no matter how you slice it, that conduct is indistinguishable from gaming activity. So Kalshi now has until May 4th, just a little under a month, to implement strict geofencing and geolocation controls to prevent Nevada-based users from accessing its markets. So by this ruling, Kalshi is out of Nevada. They do have plans to appeal. The Kalshi spokesman said, we are disappointed in the court's decision, but we'll continue to work with regulators to find a path forward. Meanwhile,
Yeah, but this is like, I mean, we've talked about this before. Big surprise, no. Uh, bad for Kalshi in particular, more than Polymarket. Yes, I think the last we had a story a couple months ago. It's like, is it 80+% of Kalshi's activity is on sports markets, Kalshi in particular. So they're going to be particularly susceptible to this. I think Polymarket is a little more diverse in terms of where the volume comes from. So I think this will be maybe worse for Kalshi than Polymarket. Long term, though, doesn't this make you think like an international, credibly neutral prediction market that's not housed in the U.S. could have product market fit? That's kind of what it feels like for me in the future.
back to the old geo arbitrage use case of crypto.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, it's not over. So the CFTC, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, and the Department of Justice are suing Arizona, Connecticut, and Illinois, aiming to reaffirm exclusive federal jurisdiction over these contract markets on prediction markets. So the CFTC chairman, Michael Selig, said the CFTC has clear and long-standing exclusive jurisdiction to regulate prediction markets, but recently, state regulators have tried to impose inconsistent and contrary obligations on CFTC-registered prediction markets. In response, the CFTC and the Justice Department today filed, this is continuing the quote from the chairman, they filed 3 separate complaints in federal district courts against the states of Arizona, Connecticut, and Illinois to reassert statutory authority over the markets. And the last quote from the CFTC chairman, the CFTC will continue to safeguard its exclusive regulatory authority over these markets and defend market participants against overzealous state regulators. So Nevada saying, no, this is the state. This is a state issue. These are legal gambling contracts. The CFTC fighting back, saying, no, this is our territory. This is our turf, and we'll deal with it the way we see fit.
I smell a looming Supreme Court case on who has jurisdictional rights over this sometime in the future. That's what I think is going to happen. But yeah, I mean, what's it called? Regulatory authorities on the state and federal level battling out who has more right to do things. Pretty normal, par for course for America. So I just wait to see what happens. I do, as it concerns prediction markets, I think that the long term implications are uh, what and where can these things be domiciled, and it makes me think of like Hyperliquid, because
Yeah.
Hyperliquid was it HIP 4, I think, makes it possible and easy to deploy prediction markets on Hyperliquid. Currently, Hyperliquid's been able to kind of skate under the radar of any of these regulatory authorities, but many people, plenty of people, for the past year plus since Hyperliquid's ascension, have been saying uh, KYC AML is at some point is going to be in the future for Hyperliquid as it becomes more as it becomes bigger and bigger, and the fact that they are going to have perhaps prediction markets on Hyperliquid, you could see this becoming a thing that makes it even more likely that they're going to be targeted for regulation. So I can imagine that coming in the future.
Yep. All right, let's move on to another big story that unfolded over the last week, and this is the massive DeFi hack on the Solana ecosystem. David, I haven't been following
Yeah.
this one too closely. Could you run us through some of the details?
Yeah. So speaking of perpetual dexes, we have Drift. Drift is, I think, I would classify it as the leading Solana-based perp dex. Um, just to start off, Graham, I have managed to avoid losing any money on any DeFi hack for the past, well, since I started crypto until now. So
Oh, this one got you.
it got me, bro. I got it. I got
Oh,
I got. So I had I had funds on Drift, and that's gone. I'm guessing, and I was staking like a small bag of Drift, and now it's down however many percent, and probably never coming back. So I lost a little bit of money on Drift. Woke up to the news. I was like, what the? Oh man. Anyway, um, March 31st, around that time, community members, um, on-chain analysts like Look On Chain and Peck Shield, but also like Zach XBT, even people in the Solana community like Mert, um, were early to say like, hey, incoming hack, things are looking dangerous, and they basically were detecting suspicious outflows from Drift at around 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This time is important because it ties in with Circle. There was a lot of USDC being taken off of the platform, and all these community members and online people were trying to get a hold of Circle to freeze accounts. They did not. Circle's based in the U.S., New York City, so you couldn't claim that, oh, it's because it was an Asian hours and everybody in Circle was sleeping. No, it was 1:30 p.m. New York time. Anyway, they weren't able to, or I don't know what happened. They didn't stop or freeze all that money, and so the money went. It started off in the low. I think it was like 160, and over the course of days, that has gotten up to as high as 286 million. By April 3rd, things were becoming a little clearer. Um, $286 million were taken off the platform. $286 million worth of crypto assets were taken off the platform in 12 minutes. And Drift said, quote, earlier, a malicious actor gained unauthorized access to Drift protocol through a novel attack involving durable nonces, resulting in a rapid takeover of Drift Security Council administrative powers. They also said this was a highly sophisticated operation that appears to have involved multi-week preparation and staged execution, including the use of durable nonce accounts to pre-sign transactions that delayed execution. That was on April 3rd that they said that. Well, April 5th, even more information came out about this, and it looks now even more dire and I'm not going to say existential, but it makes it should make everybody who works in around crypto, especially in an on-chain protocol, like incredibly paranoid. So on April 5th, Drift released an article talking about the early findings of this attack. And mind you, these are the early findings, but the early findings are quite scary. So they said that this appears to have been the result of a sophisticated 6 month long social engineering infiltration campaign. It involved people posing as a legitimate quantitative trading firm that built trust with contributors who worked for Drift, that met in person at multiple conferences over months. So these are people who are meeting in the flesh at conferences, gaining trust. They had vetted profiles on LinkedIn, professional what's it called? Acquaintances and things like that vouch for this. They even deposited $1 million of their own money into the ecosystem. But basically, they were able to gain trust by meeting with Drift protocol folks in person, and then sending packages, pieces of code, flight test applications that then compromised the computers or the smartphones that of the people involved. And it was through this long 6 months long process that they were able to gain access to to the Drift Security Council. They believe that this campaign was done by the DRPK, the North Korean Lazarus Group. The Lazarus Group, again, apparently has kind of two main buckets. They have the, I'm going to say, kind of unsophisticated bucket, where they just probe and try to find any kind of very basic weaknesses. I forgot the name of that bucket. Then there's the kind of very sophisticated, elite level, multi-month, maybe longer group that attacked the Bybit, or that attacked Bybit last year. And this is done by this elite group, which again employs agents that meet in person at conferences. And so that's kind of where we are now. The reason that they released this article with information prematurely is that they Drift and the security firm that's doing this audit believe that most likely other protocols are in various stages of being compromised right now via the same group, the same technique. And so they wanted to get this information out as fast as possible to alert any protocols that should be kind of going through audits and seeing if they have any vulnerabilities, including from people that they meet in real life, which is this brings it to a whole nother level, Graham, to me personally, is that you're now getting basically like corporate espionage, right? Via human to human interactions in real life. And these agents, none of them are Asian, right? These are not like North Koreans doing it, right? Yeah. So they're higher, wild stuff.
This is an incredible story, David. I had no idea that the lengths that they went to for this particular case. I thought this was more of a. I only looked at it on the surface. It just seemed like a hack, but this sophisticated 6 month long social engineering attack, incredibly scary. And as you're telling the story, David, I'm sitting here thinking like, why don't they do this for TradFi? And the answer is that you can reverse the transaction. You can just stop it, right? That's why they go for crypto. And I'm thinking as you're telling this story that yeah, DeFi, these hacks and like these social engineering attacks, plus all the smart contract hacks, plus the fact that AI agents or like AI in general is just becoming better and better at hacking. Recently we had this like issue with Claude, I think, saying that yeah, we're going to release the next version, but I don't know, we shouldn't do it because it's too good at hacking. This has me all very worried about the future of DeFi, and I'm going to be looking at my, I've got some stable coins that I'm farming here and there, or not farming, generating like minimal yield here and there, and I'm just like, wait a minute, it's not worth the risk with these things being possible. Like it's this seems like a major blow to DeFi.
Yeah, and I agree. So again, why was I on Drift? Well, you know me. I think perp dexes are one of the like outside of stablecoins, it's the best product. Stablecoins and maybe prediction markets, but to me, prediction markets are separate. Anyway, the best like true DeFi thing, stablecoins and perp dexes. So I'm a believer in Hyperliquid, and I was diversified into other perp dexes because you can't know who the winner is, and so that's why I had Drift, and I was using Drift quite a bit for the past, I don't know, year. But I was just thinking, the first thing I thought of was like, good God, if this happened to Hyperliquid, right? Like, I mean, oh no, please no. But yeah, it really does make me think of like, how much exposure do I want to any smart contract on-chain protocol, right? Like, you got to like, you have to de-risk a little bit. You just have to, because you don't know how ironclad this stuff is, and the links to which these to these groups are going, and the sophistication of it. I'm not going to say it's impossible to protect against, but it's getting close to that level of where you can't even trust people that you meet. That level, right? Like state actor level, kind of level of mistrust that you have to do. I will say this. So I said this on Token Narratives last week, and I'll reiterate it here because maybe someone's listening, and obviously not. They've probably already thought of this. But one of the things that people said that I pay attention to on Drift was, this all could have been, or most of it could have been prevented if there was like a time lock for major withdrawals. So let's say you're withdrawing 1 million plus, it automatically gets locked for like 6 hours for a review, and then the funds can be withdrawn. Or like, you can kind of make some kind of escalating level of withdrawals. Like $1 million gets locked for 40 minutes, 2 million an hour, 10 million 4 hours, 100 million 12 hours. And I think all of these protocols, from Aave to Hyperliquid to anything like that, should just have this kind of hard coded in there, because you basically want to assume that this is going to happen to you. You want to assume the worst. You're like, oh, this is definitely going to happen to us. So how do we? Because all that it would have taken is a human in the loop that could have stopped it.
Yeah.
I
think I would certainly support that, and I think that most people with significant assets on these platforms would actually support that too, despite it, like technically slowing down their ability to move their money around. The fact is that something like that would protect their assets, people's assets, against these type of exploits. So I think people would get behind that. Kind of, that's the state of things where like these sort of safety mechanisms sadly are needed at this point. So
yeah.
All right, let's move on to do you have anything else to add to this?
No,
let's move on to our last story of the week. So, quantum FUD has reared its ugly head. David, tell us what the quantum doomsdayers are claiming
Oh
about
God.
Bitcoin.
Claiming, he says. Just to for transparency, um, I jokingly, slightly jokingly, was attacking Graham. I was attacking you, sir. Last week at Token Narratives, I was saying that you were a coward and that you were not available. You were hiding from Token Narratives because you're so wrong about the threat of quantum. But here you are to defend yourself. So I'm ready. I'm ready for it. But basically, last week there was a bombshell of a research paper released by Google, um, and in this new white paper from I guess Google's quantum research team, they argue that the breaking the elliptical curve cryptography, which is the backbone of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and most other blockchains, um, it will in fact require 20 times less physical qubits than previously thought, and through some various optimizations that researchers at Google were able to use. They wrote the code. They but the results were so potentially damaging. They decided not to release the code that shows the optimizations that they've made. Um, but they did use a ZK proving system from a guest at our live stream, Graham. I don't know if you know that you remember this. Uma Roy, we interviewed at Token 2049 last year. Her company makes a proving system that shows code that proves code that you wrote does what it's supposed to do without revealing what the code is. Very, very cool stuff. Anyway, Google's research team used this crypto product. It's not a crypto product, it's a ZK product, to prove that their code does what it claims to do without revealing the code itself. So that's like kind of maybe a silver lining. But this landed on the timeline, and Nick Carter, he was sitting there throwing this into all the fudders' faces like yourself, saying, I'm right, you're wrong. Look at you, eat some humble pie. And then there was another research paper released the same day. I don't know as much about that as others because I think some of the math and the assumptions apparently are a little harder to parse. They didn't release as much of the research itself to prove. But basically, it was also Dyer saying quantum is coming and the timeline is shorter than we thought. Google said 2029, 2030 is when they think that anyone should have they should be quantum resistant. So I'll stop there.
Okay, that was painful to listen to. It's funny that you think that like this is some kind of slam dunk. Ha! Gotcha. The the people who have been saying this is quantum FUD now they're gonna look at this and they're gonna be like definitively, oh, I was wrong. Yeah, I find that funny. So, yeah, this is all. This is look, we're not on an opinion show right now. We're on the news show, but so this is my opinion, but it's factual. So, yeah, no, this is FUD. It's basically
Oh God.
Y2K.
Oh my
So
God.
people need something to be worried about. When the digits, there's not enough digits, so all the computers are gonna shut down and Y2K, and that's what's gonna happen here. It's just gonna fizzle out. First of all, Bitcoin has plenty of time to like upgrade to quantum resistance, and Bitcoin, the Bitcoin community should not rush this. And okay, this uh, latest research coming out of Google, it's a math thing. All right, so the math nerds figured out that the math nerds figured out that, oh, you don't need as many physical qubits, but the fact is you still need a lot of physical qubits, and physical qubits, they're not improving. They're not improving their ability to actually manipulate quantum reality in the physical realm. There isn't they're not like doubling the amount of physical qubits every 3.5 years like some kind of Moore's law. In fact, what's happening is that it's not really progressing, and yeah, the math, you don't, according to this, you don't need as many, but it's still very far off. And then one final word is NIST, the uh, the agency there in the U.S. that's like, oh, you got to be NIST compliant. Well, Satoshi purposely didn't go with a NIST recommended protocol because he didn't trust NIST, and neither should we at this stage in Bitcoin. There you go.
Okay, so you know what I just heard? I heard a lot of you know, a lot of nerd bullying and hand waving, and meanwhile, the math nerds are you know they're going out there and doing math proofs and stuff. Um, and you have the likes of Nick Carter, Hasib Koresh, friend of the show, um, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, Mert Muntaz, all saying, you know what, this is looking pretty. Bitcoiners should take this seriously. Justin Drake
Okay,
out there as well.
just to interrupt you there for a second, the conjecture that Bitcoin is not taking this seriously is demonstrably false. Uh, Bitcoin people in the Bitcoin community, the core developers, uh, commentators, talking heads, have been talking about quantum forever, and what they're fully aware of the threat, and they are weighing the risks of implementing a solution to like a quantum computer if one ever were to be developed. But the fact of the matter is, you got to be very careful. And classic computers, some of the proposed post quantum algorithms can be broken by classical computers. So you got to watch out for that as well. And you don't want to rush anything. There's plenty of time. Bitcoin will figure it out.
Okay, well, I mean, the the argument that Nick Carter has been making for years, and now others are coming in, like, I mean, you saw Brian Armstrong say, like, you know what, I'm gonna make put this kind of at the top of my list. I wrote about this in the newsletter. I devoted how many paragraphs to it? One, two, three,
Yeah, it's
four,
good
five,
good virtue signaling
six.
there from old Brian. Yeah, we're putting it at the top of our list. See, we're better than dirty Bitcoin core people.
You know what? But so okay, there's a bunch of things here. Now, again, it does depend on who you believe in terms of, like, oh, the Bitcoin community is taking this seriously, because I don't think they are taking it seriously, and that's the whole issue, Graham, is that they aren't. They say they are, but the way they talk about that they're taking it seriously is like ridiculous, right? Like, I talked about this with Alex. We posted an X post where people were saying Bitcoin has been taking this seriously for 16 years and screenshotting Satoshi mentioning it once 16 years ago. I mean, that's just like, that's not serious. That's not like taking it seriously. Um, you have all these whataboutisms, including people in the crypto community that are supposedly uh, serious people, to the point where, again, Mert Mumtaz Mumtaz, I don't know his name, Mert, was saying like, what's with the whataboutism in the Bitcoin community? And I was so happy to see this, right? Like all these people saying, you know what, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Bitcoin will be fine because what about the traditional financial system, or what about the nuclear codes? That has nothing to do with whether Bitcoin will be ready. So if I feel like if there was clear signs that the Bitcoin community at large was taking it seriously, I think everyone would relax more. At least I would. But it just seems like they're not taking it seriously. And
Well, they
that's
are,
maybe
because
one of the.
they are taking it seriously, because you do have Nick Carter, people like Nick Carter, Brian Armstrong, the biggest names in crypto are taking it seriously. And those people are representatives of the decentralized community known as Bitcoin. So people are taking it seriously. It's being discussed. We're talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. Solutions, the debate is happening. Solutions are being worked on. There are a lot of complicated questions that need to be answered about, what do we do with like Satoshi's coins or people's coins that haven't moved in a long time. And these questions will be debated and answered, and there will be a post-quantum solution proposed and integrated far before Bitcoin is far before quantum computing actually threatens Bitcoin. So
Okay.
the debate is happening.
All right. Fine.
All right, I win. Let's wrap it up.
No, that's no. I just I don't want to kick a cripple. You just want to. But I will say, so we got a comment. I asked on X, like, if who's right, Graham or myself, and we got one person who said, "You ready for this, Graham?" Both. Can you believe that? Both.
There you go.
Oh,
there you go.
God, both are right. Get out of here. Get out of here.
All right. All right. So that was a good discussion. Enjoyed that, David. We will be covering the quantum threat to Bitcoin. And sorry, we have to bring out this one last thing. I listened to this. I listened to this all in episode as I do. It's kind of my.
Okay.
It's kind of my
guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure weekend listening while I'm mowing the lawn type thing. Just listen to these billionaires.
Billionaire. Big billionaire. We got to fix this. He billionaired.
Yeah, so just unsophisticated takes from the likes of
sounds
Chamath
familiar.
Palihapitiya. And when I listened to him say like, "Oh, it's a Bitcoin, you guys got to watch it," I'm just like, I just thought like yeah, okay, whatever. You've been, I don't know, you've been briefed by the CIA or something to stop to like just FUD Bitcoin. So this is like, this is your little thing, and now you're gonna get access to the White House next week or something. That's what I'm going. That's what went through my head.
Wait, what did he say though? What did he say?
He was actually quite measured in his criticism, but he said that Bitcoin. He addressed the whataboutism, like, oh, what about TradFi? What about the nuclear codes? And he said, well, actually, he thinks that for non-state actors, for state actors, the nuclear codes, okay, that's the target. But for non-state actors, Bitcoin is the premier honeypot that you'd go after, and that does make sense. Doesn't change the fact that quantum computing is, far from existing in reality, despite the math advances.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get one last thing in too, just to a little. One thing that really annoys me about the Bitcoin community is, I mean, again, it's a double-edged sword. There was a measured post that was totally against all these the Graham group of people, but he was saying, like, again, the fervor and the kind of religiosity of the Bitcoin community is both a strength and a weakness. It's obviously why Bitcoin is what it is today. It's what's made it survive this long and be this kind of pristine asset. So yes, great, awesome. But the other side is just this, like, again, this religious fervor thing. One of the most annoying takes I saw just pollute my timeline was all this like dunking on, like, Nick Carter, Justin Drake, anybody who has a like a financial stake, they would say, in like quantum things or in other communities. They're like, well, you can't believe Justin Drake. He works for the Ethereum Foundation. Of course, this guy is an interloper in the Bitcoin community. So dismiss anything he has to say. And Nick Carter, he invested in a $20 million VC startup that does quantum resistance. Obviously, he's compromised and needs to be.
Yeah.
You have to just. I mean, come on. This is the most idiotic way to think about it.
Yeah.
It's just
David,
annoying to hear takes like that.
Yeah. No, you're right. But those people are idiots, and there's just lots of noise going around. I do believe that the quantum fudders are sincere in their takes. I don't think that they are like motivated by their companies. I don't like Nick Carter. I don't think he's wealthy. Like he's incentivized because of this thing. So anyway, that was let's. No, I need to get my last word in as well. So you're right there, but it's all fun. So let's wrap it up there.
All right, great.
Yeah. Thanks, David. Thanks everyone for listening. Have a great week. We're done.